Our African campaign is going well, but our Egyptian fortifications have been weakened by GDI attacks from the Nile. One of our bases is under fire, and I need you to reinforce and rebuild. Remove the GDI presence from this region once and for all. Towards that end, we have developed a new weapon you may find useful. It's your move.
What is up, everyone? Here we are. It is not mission 9 now, and this is one of the first missions where the game really tries to challenge you a little bit while you play as the Brotherhood. As you can hear, it's spammed into lots of reinforcements, but not told us where they are. There's a group of rockets in the centre of the map, and then 2 engineers in the northwest corner of the map. And your job is to use the commando to rescue the rockets, and then after using your commando to rescue the rockets, you have to use the rockets to rescue the engineers. Obviously the mission doesn't tell you that, it's for you to figure that out yourself. So what we're going to do, being mindful of the specific triggers that exist in this mission, we're going to kill as many infantry as we can. Now, it helps to know where all the infantry are, because obviously if you're the commando, you're only really good while you've got range on the enemy because of your reload time when it comes to shooting. The death of those 2 grenadiers unlocks the rockets, and as you can see, those are the engineers. Get all 3 hotkeys, it's a control and a number, so that you can quickly switch between the 3 groups and get them all moving at the same time, as that's equally important. So, as you can see from the APC's existence, that's why we needed the rockets to rescue the engineer. There's an APC in the other direction as well. Additionally, in the other direction is the GDI base. Now, we're going to be doing this mission at a sort of medium length. This is not the slowest clear of the mission that exists, because it can be done quite slowly. This is also not the fastest. You can actually use these 3 elite groups to rush the GDI base. And you're thinking, that's not many troops, how do you even do that? And it's based around exploiting the AI. Certain units won't attack you as you walk past them, so you can walk past the guarding APCs with the engineers and they don't actually shoot you.
Building.
So, although I'm all for rushing missions and doing them as quickly as possible, I don't believe too much in exploiting the AI for the base campaign. I do exploit the AI in some of the covert ops because they're very, very difficult.
Right away, sir.
So, what we'll be doing is, instead of rushing the GDI base, we're going to build up a base of our own. And you can see why it's important to keep both the engineers alive, one for power and one for the inevitable refinery that we're hoping to take.
Yes, sir. I'm on a present
Destruction of that structure, the church structure, will again present you with a crate of money. It's a common trope that's used in both Command & Conquer 95 and Red Alert
Construction
to
complete.
hide crates of money there. I'm placing this refinery in a particular sequence, and I'm not going to talk about how
Building.
an airfield and 2 harvesters is better,
Construction complete.
because the reason I'm doing this is to mine different fields
New
and keep
construction.
the AI wanting to mine different fields.
Building.
We're getting a hand of Nod because you get attacked early and quite powerfully. So my goal is to try to contain as much as I can and control the infantry attacks through using the spy. Or the commando even. Don't know why I call him a spy.
Right away, sir. Moving out.
Yes, sir.
So our first goal is to deal with the early attacks, which feature mostly infantry. Fire and then kite backwards. One of the weaknesses of the commando is his reload time in between kills. You can instantly kill any infantry, but as you saw even there, a group of even 5 infantry can actually reach him if he doesn't kite back. We pushed the infantry up so that he was the target for the airstrike. As we've said before, he was the most northern unit at the time. And we're going to be trying to do that pretty consistently.
Reinforcements have arrived.
The unit composition that we're going to be going for is light tanks and flame tanks. Light tanks are our bread and butter and form the bread and butter of most NOD army compositions.
Reinforcements have
The flame
arrived.
tanks are our anti-structure unit, which we will be using to deal with the actual buildings of the GDI base. What we will be doing with the army composition is camping GDI's harvesters so that they run out of resources. And that will be our fundamental objective for most of this level. And it will be the thing that allows us to actually clear the level. I remember having a lot of difficulty with this mission as a kid. What I ended up doing was keeping the commandos safe, and because I originally played this on PlayStation 1, after I'd kept the commandos safe, I spammed the nuclear warhead cheat all over the GDI base, and I was like, yeah, that's really easy.
Reinforcements
But
have arrived.
there's a number of strategies for this mission. I may go back and show the rushing strategy. I actually used the rushing strategy as part of a charity stream that I did back in 2017 of this game to raise money for Stand Up to Cancer.
Reinforcements have arrived.
And in that stream I did all of the rushing techniques as opposed to some of the base building ones. It was quite a short stream actually, so I had to move on to other games.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Building.
You got it.
But at this point, it's similar to most missions at this stage. We are just trying to establish a base.
Cancelled.
We're building up
Yes, sir.
Building.
No
and
problem.
trying to get to... So,
No problem.
flame tanks require you to have a comm tower
I'm on it. I'm on it.
to produce. So we're making sure we get the comm center up, whilst just spending our money wisely. So we're going to get the comm center up. And now,
New construction options.
guess who forgot about the field of Tiberium right next to his base? No, I didn't forget about that. So what I had in previous playthroughs of the mission was in the early attacks, I was messing it up and losing quite a few harvesters. So I wanted to keep that in reserve until I had my base established, because the it's very difficult to mine that far away one. So if you can mine that while GDI aren't coming at you, it means you have more Tiberium available if you start to get pushed back. You may be thinking, what did he mean by earlier attempts? Well, you may have noticed this mission began with a pause screen. This was the 4th attempt this clear. So I actually failed this mission 3 times, doing different things, experimenting with different ways of moving. One of them was I was seeing if the rush strategy worked, if I could remember it, and I don't remember it. Another reason why you're not seeing it. But otherwise, the repair facility is just to give us a little bit of longevity to our units. But ultimately, as you can see, we're going to go 3 or 4, 2 to 3, 2 to 4. I'm just going to say arbitrary numbers at you and see if you can keep up. Now, we're going to go 2 to 4 flame tanks and a lot of light tanks. And we're just going to take control of the GDI Tiberium field and starve them of resources. As you've seen, GDI is quite infantry heavy, and also not just quite infantry heavy, but quite anti-tank infantry heavy. So we're being mindful of that, and the flame tanks will help here. So we'll actually have 2 control groups of the tanks and flame tanks. And we're going to continue to push infantry up into that corner so the GDI airstrike them.
Construction complete. Building.
I know you're saying, he says he doesn't like exploiting the AI, but all he does is exploit the airstrike, and I'm not a fan of airstrikes. I don't like that it's a free resource that you have to deal with. If you could build SAM sites and it prevent the airstrike within an area of a SAM site, then I would feel a lot better about it. But the AI airstrike is always very, very powerful. So you can just build your hand of nod and then immediately use it to an airstrike and have to build another one. And I find that more irritating than I do a fun challenge.
Yes, moving out.
Yeah, you got it. No problem.
Unit moving out. Moving out. Unit reporting.
Building.
So,
Moving out.
all we're going to do now
Moving out.
is push forward.
Moving out. Yes, sir.
Construction
Moving
complete.
out. Yes,
We've got a
sir.
minimum of 2 flame tanks,
Building.
Yes,
and we
sir,
can
on it.
continue now with our
Reinforcements
economy to
on it.
produce more units.
Moving out. Moving
So we're just
out.
going to push up more light tanks
Unable to comply. Building in
with our flame
progress.
tanks. We're going to
Construction
shoot the
complete.
harvester using our light tanks to do the bulk of the damage,
Reinforcements
and then we're
have
going to micromanage the tanks
Construction
so
complete.
that the flame tanks are taking the brunt of the infantry attack and
Reinforcements
killing
have
off
arrived.
swarms of GDI infantry.
Yes, sir. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Moving out.
Building.
Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out.
So this is the GDI field.
Construction complete. Reinforcements have arrived.
One of the reasons that we're camping it
Yes, sir.
is because if you go past a certain
Building.
invisible line, you're going to get struck by
Yes, sir.
orcas.
Yes, sir.
So we don't want to aggro the orcas, but we don't want GDI harvesting.
Construction complete. Building.
And this is why I'm also training the rockets.
Reinforcements
We're going to
have
bring up a
arrived.
squad of rockets to take out the
Unable to
orcas.
comply. Building in progress. Unable to comply. Building in progress. Building. Unit ready. Construction complete. Building.
Yes, sir.
Couple of silos because we're going to be busy managing an awful lot.
Moving out. Moving out. Right away, sir. Affirmative.
And being very careful that the rockets don't get run over there.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving out. Waiting. Acknowledged. Yes,
So as you can see, we've shot a harvester now. And you can tell because GDI is throwing everything at us now.
moving out. Moving out.
Here's that other harvester.
Unit lost.
And we're going to do more of the same. We're going to blow that up too.
Vehicle acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And again, we're going to send a flame tank to the front to deal with the infantry.
Building.
But it's not going to go because of
Unit
pathfinding.
ready.
Pathfinding is atrocious. Like moving large amounts of tanks in a small environment is the worst.
Lost.
I forgot to set up the
Lost.
infantry for the airstrike, so we took an airstrike onto our tanks, which is less than ideal.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Affirmative.
As you can see, flame tanks are something you can get an obscene amount of value out of. If you're using them correctly, like that entire stack of infantry that it just killed, of 3 grenadiers and a rocket, that pretty much paid for itself, and that's not the first wave of infantry that it killed. So you get very, very, very good economy out of the units that you
Construction
produce,
complete.
if you use them correctly with the Brotherhood Nod. Less so the light tanks. Light tanks are just bad, they're not even that much faster. But flame tanks are indeed very useful, but the same flame tank is going to come forward and kill
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
even more.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Ready and waiting and waiting. Right away, sir. Yes, sir. Moving out.
So, with our economy established, our infantry's in place, we can now start to think about baiting out our good friends, the orcas.
Unit. Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Roger.
Our base is under attack. Building. Reinforcements have arrived.
There's a gunboat that very, very rarely actually shoots you because of the previous targeting glitch that I mentioned in the last level. However, for some reason, whatever it was targeting has died, and so it made the decision in that moment in time to shoot one of my power plants, and I was very sad about that.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the same flame tank that is getting all these infantry kills.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
So what you should be doing at this point is you should be continuing to produce tanks, which I remember and go back to at least. But I'm trying to find the threshold which will provoke the orcas.
Reinforcements have arrived. Construction complete.
Giving away this flame tank's life because by attacking the harvester that is trying to harvest, it's going to burn the Tiberium before it can harvest it, meaning it gets no actual collection out of it. Also, it really, really softens it up. As you can see, the harvester is much weaker now. Just a sea of GDI infantry.
Yes, sir.
We finally lost one flame tank.
Waiting orders. Moving out. Yes, sir. Yes, acknowledged. Yes, sir. Moving out.
Unit lost.
So yeah, as you can probably tell by the amount that I'm singing their praises, I am a big fan of flame tanks. I think they're a fantastic unit in this game. So much so that they actually see nerfs in Command & Conquer 3. They do way more structure damage, but they're nowhere near as cool. So we found the aggro point for the Orca. And now all we're going to do is push that up, push up into that with our rockets. And our rockets will deal with Orcas. Orcas are very, very expensive, and as you know, we've been starving the GDI base of its economy.
Reinforcements have arrived. Construction complete.
Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Reinforcements have arrived. Unit lost. Unit lost.
I thought I'd got both because of the health of those rockets, but I'd actually only gotten one and almost gotten the other. So my math was slightly off.
Construction complete.
Now, all we have to do is push in with the flame tank
Reinforcements have arrived.
and do a little bit of damage.
Waiting. Affirmative.
And because of this hole in the wall, we can push in with the flame tank as much as we want now.
Moving out. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Taking out the power, because
Acknowledge.
power is very important to the rate at which AI can build.
Unit report. Yes, sir.
And actually, whenever you take out a construction yard, I don't know why, but for the AI will receive a bonus of money whenever you take out its construction yard. So it will suddenly not be bankrupt anymore.
Vehicle report. Acknowledge. Yes, sir.
I always thought it was because the AI was in the middle of building something, but that's not always the case. The AI can have nothing to build, be out of money, lose its construction yard, and suddenly just start pumping out units. So it just seems to be a bonus that the AI gets. And that's why we're taking out the power. As you know from my playthrough of the GDI campaign, which I'm hoping you've all watched, the GDI has access to the advanced guard tower. Now, they were categorically awful when I was using them, but as is most often the case with the AI in this game, it's much stronger in the AI's hands than in your own.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Vehicle report.
But all we're doing now is we're cleaning up the GDI base. So with that, that was mission 9, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next video.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Affirmative. Moving out. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Unit lost.
Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes, acknowledge. Yes, sir. Moving out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Mission accomplished.